Good morning. Today is Tuesday, September 9th, and this is Wake Up with KERA News. I'm Andrew Garcia. It's going to be mostly sunny again today. We'll see some highs in the upper 80s. Coming up, we'll hear how the Ukrainian community celebrates its independence even against the backdrop of war. That story is after the news. A new report shows Dallas's most urban areas are also its hottest. KERA's Dylan Duke reports on how the city is trying to limit these heat islands.
The report from the Smart Surfaces Coalition shows Dallas's roads and buildings absorb and trap heat, making some areas as much as 14 degrees hotter than others. Now, the city planning department wants to cool things down by limiting how much pavement builders can use, for example, requiring smaller driveways. The department says limiting the use of pavement will allow for more vegetation. It's also part of a wider effort to reform the city's development code. The proposed change is expected to go before City Council this fall. For KERA News, I'm Dylan Duke in Dallas.
The State Fair of Texas will not be giving away free tickets to local high school students this year. Fair spokesperson Carissa Condoyanis says it's because of rising costs, low ticket redemption rates, and increased safety concerns. She says an uptick in incidents involving teens in recent years has caused fear, confusion, and even injuries among attendees and employees. Students in pre-K to 8th grade will continue to receive free fair tickets. The fair will also offer $12 discounted tickets for high schoolers to use Monday through Thursday during the event. It's been 3 years since Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Ukrainians in the United States continue to come together in support of their home country. In late August, a local culture club held a concert in celebration of Ukrainian Independence Day. KERA's Andy Lusk explains how community members have come together to support each other thousands of miles away from home.
It's Saturday night, and there's a concert at the University of Dallas in Irving. This isn't just any summer concert, though. It's a celebration of Ukrainian Independence Day, hosted by the Ukrainian Cultural Club of Dallas. The headliners are students with Rock Garage, a music school in Austin. They get the audience hyped up to Ukrainian pop rock songs.
We're always interested to introduce our culture, to show them what Ukraine is and why we are not the same thing as Russia or Soviet Union.
That's Alex Vasilchenko. He's the Culture Club's president. Vasilchenko says until recently, Americans largely weren't aware of Ukraine and its history. He remembers coming to the United States as a kid and explaining to other kids and to their parents where he was from.
I would have to say, yeah, that's a country on the border of Russia. So I think we got our first exposure to the Americans in 2014, and now, obviously, unfortunately, we have another exposure.
Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022, an escalation of a war that began in 2014. It's the biggest armed conflict in Europe since World War II. Chelsea West Ohori is an assistant professor of Slavic and Eurasian studies for the University of Texas at Austin. She says against the backdrop of war, events like this carry an added sense of meaning.
I would imagine that, especially in the context of the war, these kinds of events might even attract people who maybe historically hadn't participated, but were very excited to be able to participate now.
West Ohori says community organizations help people stay connected to their home countries and cultures. From her research with expat Albanian and Kosovan communities, she says,
and I found that people, whether we're talking about first generation, second or third generation folks in the United States, are really committed to wanting to participate and celebrate, build relationships together.
At the concert, the mood is cheerful, but the war lingers over the event. Quite literally, while the performers sing, dance, and play instruments in front of a projection in large all-capital letters that reads, "Stop War." When it's time for a patriotic hymn, the crowd rises and sings along. The song is Prayer for Ukraine, first published in the late 1800s. It's the closing hymn in many Ukrainian church services and was featured on Saturday Night Live in 2022. Irina Dovzhanska is a small business owner selling handmade jewelry and other traditional items at the event. She says all proceeds from her shop go directly to Ukraine, where she's originally from. Dovzhanska says when she visited her home country earlier this summer, she saw that Ukrainians no longer evacuate when they hear air raid sirens.
3 years into the war, it's a new norm for Ukrainians, so most of them just don't go anywhere. They just hope for the best and pray.
But Dovzhanska says despite this new norm, Ukraine won't give up territory or forget those killed. She wants Americans to stay informed about what's happening in Ukraine.
One point that people need to know: Ukraine will never surrender.
For KERA News in Dallas, I'm Andy Lusk.
The Rangers play Game 2 against the Brewers tonight. They won last night's game 5-0. They remain a game and a half out of the final wildcard spot behind the Mariners. Seattle and Texas are just two of the about 5 teams who have a shot at that final spot in what is shaping up to be a rather exciting September. Check out the book art exhibit on view now at the SPN Gallery at University of Texas at Dallas. The show brings together artists exploring the book as a medium for art and reading as a visual activity. Learn more and find some other fun things to do by visiting our Go See DFW calendar at kera.org/calendar. Thanks for listening to Wake Up with KERA News. I'm your host, Andrew Garcia. This show is produced by Shardae White with editing support from Bekah Morr. For more news in your inbox, visit kera.org/wakeup. That's where you can subscribe to the Wake Up with KERA News newsletter. You'll get a more in-depth look into the news with plenty of good morning vibes. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at KERATX. Have a good one. We'll see you tomorrow.